Stock placement. How much does it matter? How much does changing the position of the stock actually affect how the gun fires and how we're able to control recoil? In today's video, we're going to try to answer that question for you guys. My name's Brendan. I'm here with Justin and Beto, and we're going to be testing that out. Full disclosure, we are not instructors. It's not an instructional video or anything like that. We're just three idiots on the range here trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. So we're gonna go ahead and try a couple different techniques that are kind of the two big ones we see out there. And there's almost like a little bit of conflict between some people, kind of from the competition side, from the tactical side of like, do you want the stock a little bit higher? Does that make a big difference? Or do you want a stock a little bit lower? Some people say one's gonna perform better than the other, and the other isn't good to use. But we're gonna go ahead and try it out today and just experiment and see how much of a difference it actually makes to change your stock placement for your rifles. So today we're gonna be shooting two different build drills at about 7 yards. And the reason we chose that is because I think it's probably the most relevant for this concept of stock placement to keep the gun stable for follow-up shots. So I think this is kind of a relevant distance and drill for us to do for this kind of thing. So we're gonna try the lower stock placement, leaning forward into the gun. We're gonna try a higher stock placement, keeping our body more upright. And we're also gonna try a third technique that we're gonna use at the end that you guys gotta stick around to see, to find out what that's gonna be. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, before we actually get the video started, I wanted to kind of let you know we are trying to make a big change with our media here at Big Techs, trying to get back to kind of our mission of pushing educational content out there for you guys, stuff that's entertaining and useful to you guys. So please comment down below if there's something that you feel that we should do, any ideas you guys have while we kind of reorient ourselves, get back to our mission on this, which is, to promote training, promote education in the firearms community, but also, I mean, Big Techs, we kind of have a broader mission behind the scenes, and that is just sustainability, empowering individuals to be independent and free on their own and not need the government for anything in their lives. And that, like a lot of us like cooking and homesteading and I don't think any of us actually have our kids in the public school system. It's either private or homeschool or something like that. So we don't usually talk about that on the channel just because of what we sell and, kind of what our business is. But that is our mission. We want to promote education and training with you guys and have you guys be able to take your security into your own hands. So please like this video, subscribe to our channel for more content like this, and let us know what you think we should be doing in the future. And we really appreciate all the support. Thank you guys. And let's get back to the video. So we're gonna get started with shooting, and we're gonna get the first stock position out of the way here. So this is more of the what you see with a lot of competition performance shooters is stock's gonna be lower in the shoulder here. Really dug in. You could see behind the top or below the top of the shoulder rather. It's down in there. He's rolling his shoulder forward, pulling this rifle back into his shoulder really hard. And then we've got a bit of a forward lean into the gun. And this is pretty common what you see for most people, I think. So we're gonna try this from the low ready. We're gonna do a build drill of 6 rounds downrange and see, we'll see how he does. Stand by. Right.
Oh, bad. It's all right.
All right, so that's the first group we just shot using more of the competition style technique. How did that feel? I mean, it was the first group, cold, obviously, haven't shot in a little while. And yeah, how'd it feel?
I mean, I'm not a huge competition guy, so it's like that position's a little forced for me, not the most natural. I get it, like the idea behind it. I've had an instructor walk me through it, and like when I do it right and like compare it, it's definitely very stable, but it's a little unnatural for me. And honestly, me being just bad at shooting right now was more reflective of the group than the position, but it was fine. It was stable.
Sure. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So side note here too, I left my timer at home, so I'm going to try to put times in the timestamps of the video so you guys can kind of compare like what times we're getting. But just like Justin said, some of us were shooting this cold and some of us are a little bit out of practice, but again, 3 idiots on the range, just trying to figure out which technique works and how they compare to each other. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna have Beto shoot it, and then we're gonna start on the next one as well. And once we finish with that, I will also show the groups for you guys to actually see how they compare to each other. Right. Nice, dude. Way better, Justin. All right, so for this next technique, we're gonna be placing the stock a little bit higher on the shoulder. So if you see, the top of the stock is actually higher than where his shoulder goes, and he's really trying to bring the gun up to his head, and then he's also gonna be standing a little more upright rather than as like forward and aggressive into the gun. Still rolling shoulder forward and everything like that. Still got the same grip and all that stuff, but now the stock is much higher in the shoulder rather than deep in that shoulder pocket. So let's go ahead and see how this goes. Brett. Brett.
And now what?
So we just got finished shooting the first 2 techniques, both the competition, like lower stock placement, and then the higher stock placement. And Justin went first. This is the higher, or no, this is the lower stock placement right here. This is competition one.
Low stock placement.
And then this one over here is the higher one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all of them are in the big circle here, the B8 zone, if you want to call it that. A little more spread out than this one right here, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because we don't have a timer out here, but was this one shot a little bit slower than the other one, do you feel?
I think so.
Slightly?
Slightly slower.
Okay.
A little more controlled. More natural for me. Again, this is a little bit more natural for me. This one I had to kind of force it a little bit for the sake of the video. So, yeah.
Cool. All right, yeah, and then I actually shot as well. And my groups are right here and here, same thing. This is more of the competition style grip, and then this is more of the higher, or excuse me, competition style like stock placement. And this is the higher one, which is more natural for me. That's typically what I practice, is this. So kind of take that into account too, is like, I'm sure if you practice one of these techniques, you'll get better at it over time. But I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think this is a flyer off me right here, 6. And then right here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I didn't have, if you don't count the flyer, this group actually might be a little tighter, but this one's kind of a flyer down here too. So I would say kind of comparable for me on groups. This one, I definitely felt like I was shooting a little bit, like slightly slower on this one than this one over here. But let's go ahead and check out Beto's target as well. So now we're looking at Beto's target here. This was the, yeah, Justin shot this afterwards.
These
so
two
just
are actually freaking. That one's in play. Really.
this one's in play.
Yeah, that was my second group.
Okay. So this was the competition. Low stock placement, high stock placement. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dropped a little bit low there, but kind of a nice group, just a little bit lower than where it should be placed. So maybe a height over bore issue here. And same thing here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a flyer down here is 6. So
6 flyer got me.
yeah. Again, we don't have a timer out here, but how do you feel about these two right here?
Definitely shot the low stock placement a lot slower, and it just feels very forced, not as natural like you guys were saying with the higher stock placement. Yeah, I like the more natural stock placement a lot better. Standing a little more upright, being very lean forward with it, super tucked. I find myself focusing a lot more on that than actually trying to shoot and stay on target. You know what I mean? I'm more worried about, like, am I leaning forward enough? Is my shoulder tucked enough? Instead of actually putting the dot where it needs to go and pulling the trigger when I have to. So the more natural stock placement gives me a lot less to think about, and I can more focus on just my dots where it's supposed to be, my fingers on the trigger where it's supposed to be. So just feels a lot more natural for me.
All right, guys, so that's the first 2 techniques. We've got another one we're gonna shoot at the end of the video here, just kind of throw it in there for you guys. So now comparing both of those, the high stock placement, low stock placement, we've touched on it a little bit. Let's talk pros and cons, each position, and maybe when one might be used over the other. All right, so Justin?
So, I mean, I think having that low stock placement is something you should strive for. You know, when it's, I don't think anybody can argue that it's not objectively going to be quicker. You're going to be quicker because you're able to absorb recoil better. But I think it's a little more rigid than it's not too flexible, right? Like in a competition, when you're not having to maneuver, you're not having to take a lot of uncomfortable shots, unless the stage is set up that way, of course. Then yeah, it's definitely something to do. But I think what we use is more or less what we've adopted as a compromise between having that ideal stock placement versus being flexible and being able to take corners. Because like when you're going through a room, a lot of times you have to come off a little bit, and getting that perfect stock placement every time when you're coming through the door is not always super easy to do. So it's I think it's more of a compromise, allowing as long as your stock is supported and it's not going to slide off your shoulder, and it's something it's a position you've trained with and you've gotten good with. I think that's really what's more important. As long as you're keeping that in mind, that having a lower stock placement is, striving for that is ideal, right? You want to try and get it as low as possible, but you're not always going to get all the way down in there. It's kind of my take on it.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. What about you, Beto? What do you think?
I agree with Justin. I think it's a compromise. I think it also, since he already touched on a lot of that stuff, but I'll bring up another kind of point with stock placement is going to be your optic mounts and the height. So before the higher 193s, 226s mounts came out, a lot of mounts were a lot shorter. So having a higher stock placement, I feel like wasn't as prevalent as it is now. You didn't see a ton of guys doing that, but now that a lot of the optic mounts are a lot taller for shooting with night vision, or like Justin was saying, with clearing rooms, cutting corners and things like that, you see a lot of the guys with the higher stock placement, and I think that's where a lot of that comes with too. And I think it's personal preference, you know what I mean? You train with what kind of shooting you're going to be doing, and whatever feels better for you and keeps you on target and comfortable, I think is the better option. I don't think one is really per se better than the other. It's whichever one you feel more comfortable with and can perform better with is the one you should go with.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think kind of to sum it up, because I was able to shoot both today as well. I do think that if you practice either one of these techniques, you can get good shooting. Either one is valid. Either one, especially in their own context. And like you said, if you're wearing different equipment, if you're doing different kinds of, you have a different role with the gun other than like a planned stage where you're not wearing any of the gear, and you don't necessarily have the longevity that you might have as, like, let's say a SWAT call out, or military dudes who are clearing houses for 12 hours straight. Different context where higher stock placement and a more upright heads up position may be more advantageous and more sustainable for a long period of time, whereas the kind of more leaned over and hunched into the gun and getting really behind it, while you're probably going to get, like you said, more performance out of it, yeah. But it may be more tiring, more cumbersome to kind of get into that position.
It's definitely something to consider.
100%. And with that natural stock, I think that's a big benefit of that, is that you're not using so much of your, I don't even know what you would call that, like force to keep the gun tight. You know what I mean? It's a lot. You're a lot more relaxed. Your gun is up. Your neck's not getting tired because you're dipping your head behind your dot all day. You know what I mean? It's just a lot more relaxing, especially when you have a full play carry on, full kit, you're with a stack of dudes all day and you're clearing rooms and stuff. I mean, that just gets tiring. You know what I mean? So like I was saying before, it's just comfortability, man. Comfortability. When you're repping stuff out and you're getting tired, your body's getting worn out, you're going to go with what's comfortable. So you should train with what's comfortable.
Yeah, you definitely have to exert more energy using, that low stock position for sure.
Well, there you guys have it. So that's kind of the two main positions kind of compared to each other. If our opinion is worth anything, again, we're just three regular dudes shooting at the range here, trying different things out. Some of us do have a little bit of stuff we've done in the background, but that's neither here nor there. It doesn't really matter at this point. So hopefully that helps you guys out when it comes to stock placement on deciding what you may want to train with or whatever it is. But the point here, guys, is get out and train, go out and practice with both of these positions, see which one works better for you. And again, context matters. There's really no reason for as a community, for us to be kind of at each other's throats over this kind of thing. Both positions seem to be valid, have their pros and cons, and depending on what you're doing, can be very very valid, like we said. So. If you stuck around the video this far, we are going to do one more shooting technique, and we're going to actually change our grip on the gun, and we're going to shoot the guns without stocks, doing bill drills. Same thing, 7 yards, and we're going to see how that goes. And depending on how that goes, I will also share with you how we changed our grip and essentially how that affects the handling of the gun. Again, just trying stuff out here on the range just to see what works. Maybe we like it, maybe we don't, but get out there, train, and try new things, get out of your comfort zone. Threat. Yeah, gave him a little extra one just for as a snack,
Brother?
as a treat.
He was still up. What do you want me to do?
That was bad. I thought it was lost.
Threat.
Tough. Yeah. That is way harder than it looks.
Can I go one more time?
Yeah.
I want to shoot that bottom left one. I like
Yeah.
it.
Try it. Try it again.
I like. Come on.
Yeah. Once you kind of get used to it a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Threat.
Shouldering your bumper too?
It's kind of shouldering a little bit.
That bitch was shoulders.
Maybe. I don't know.
It looked like it was.
Oh, maybe not.
Maybe not. Oh. I mean, if it works, it works.
Man.
What'd you shoot? What target were you going for?
That was the top right again.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I got kind of low on it.
I'm gonna try to actually get like accurate hits and do it on that center circle because it doesn't look like there's much in there.
That's the problem with shooting and learning. It's like, all right.
All right, so there you have it. That's our last test for today, our little experiment on the range where we shot without stocks this time. We did change our grip up and use our sling and kind of put some forward pressure on the gun to see if that would help compensate for it. But I think it kind of sucks not having a third point of contact.
Yeah, they make those for a reason, as it turns out. So, yeah, use them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. You can't. It's impossible to control a gun.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Not accurate at all.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely be accurate for like a very slow fire.
Oh yeah, super.
you gotta slow down.
But to keep your rate of fire up,
Yeah.
it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. Definitely sucks. That second try, I was like, dude, I got this. And that first round, I was like, nope.
Yeah,
It's tough.
I'll tell you what though, it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun doing it without a
Very
stock
fun.
on the gun.
Yeah.
Kind of felt like a drive-by or something like that. But anyways, yeah. there you guys have it. So if you're wondering, having a stock on your rifle definitely helps. So yeah, that's it for you guys today. For your consideration when it comes to the high and low stock placement, different contexts call for different things, and we definitely think both positions are valid, and hopefully this helps out. Let us know what else you guys want to see from the channel, and I guess we'll see you next time.
You guys should go out, try it in your backyard. Go home, try it in your backyard. Take your stock off, go rip a few.
Yeah.
No matter where you live, go try it.
Yeah, go do it in the streets.
Yeah.
Big Tech said it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.